What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Aaron hitting y'all up with my second video. I've gotten a lot of ideas from y'all, a lot of challenges, a lot of reaction challenges, and certain challenges that I'm not even gonna go into. Um, but I made my decision for this video, and this video is gonna be the story of how I got sent home from the army. Um, the army was a very serious thing for me that I've been wanting to do for a very long time, and this setback had caused me to come home. I'm not gonna lie though, I'm glad that I'm back home. I'm glad that I'm back with family. I get to do a lot of things that you weren't able to do in the army. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, about a year or two ago, I made the decision. No, not even that. My freshman year. My freshman year, I made the decision that I was gonna be going into the military. Originally, the plan was supposed to be the United States Marines. But the fear of being deployed had my mom frightened, like very frightened. So she told me, no, son, I don't want you being in the Marines because you'll be deployed a number of times. So I followed with it. Then it was supposed to be the Navy, but my ASVAB score wasn't that good enough. Well, I mean it was, but I would have been stuck with the shit jobs, and that kind of steered me away from joining the Navy. Then came the decision of the Army, and the Army basically, I committed to it. I committed to being in the Army. Why? Because I believe that the Army would have given me a lot of opportunities to travel the world, and that I was going to be able to see many things throughout my Army career. At the time, I thought that I was going to be able to. So, a couple years later pass, and I swore in the beginning of 2017. Um, I went through my senior year. I went through graduation. Now, big thing that a lot of people focused on while I was waiting to get sent to boot camp was they didn't want me to go, and I understand why, because many people care for me so much and have so much love for me that they don't want me to get hurt or anything, which is totally fine. I understand that. Those are my friends and family that don't want me to get hurt. But at the end of the day, it was my decision, and they stood by it. They stood by my decision, and they were happy that I'm happy with what I made, with what I chose. One person that was really against it was my dad. My dad um, was extremely against it. He didn't want me to go whatsoever. His fear was that he was going to lose his firstborn son in battle, which every parent that has a military son or daughter has to realize. War is inevitable. It's going to be there no matter what. And one day, their son or daughter is going to get deployed at sometime in the military career. No matter how long you're in it, you're going to be deployed at least once or twice in your military career, if not even more. And I guess he had that big fear. He had told me that he would stay up late at night just crying because the fear of having his son or somebody knocking at the door at his apartment. And you know you know how the ritual goes. Two soldiers stand by and give the spouse or family member the folded flag. That basically signifies that your loved one has passed away in battle or any other occasion. But that was his biggest fear, and that was why he was really against it. But later on down the line, he came to accept it, that it was my choice, and then he stuck by it. The day of my departure was crazy. Um, we had to swear in one final time to make sure about everything, and then we left to the airport. The airport when we got there was crazy. Our flight wasn't for a while, so Of course, when I got there, my family was there. My mom, my dad, and my little brother. Um, and my stepdad, of course. Of course, it was an emotional time for everybody. It hit my dad hard the most when I hugged him and told him goodbye. He immediately bawled out. Tristan was all smiles because he was gonna be bragging about his brother. Oh, he was in the army and everything, which he kind of still does. Well, he tells his friends that, oh, my brother was in the army. My mom was also emotional, and my stepdad was very proud of me. Um, when I had took the planes, yes, I. FYI, if you live in the state of Texas and you choose Army and you get stationed in Fort Jackson, you are going to be taking two flights. Your first flight will be to Dallas, and then your second flight will be to South Carolina. My boot camp was at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. When we had landed in South Carolina, there was already a drill sergeant by the USO. He had told us, fall in formation. And we were there for about a good 2.5 hours, and everybody was bullshitting, which really pissed me off. They were on their phones when they shouldn't be. They were talking, just basically acting like immature children. Well, when he came back, we had got on the bus, and it was quite a drive. When we had got there, you have this amount of time to get off my bus, you know, Rosa, wherever. Of course, if you're in the army, and it will, especially if your boot camp was at Fort Jackson, the whole thing. You go to 120th, you get processed there. You're there for a few days, and reception sucks. Once we had got there, I would say by when we got into the room where we're introducing ourselves to our paperwork and then what platoon where we were going to, I broke down about twice because it hit me like, oh shit, I'm finally here, away from my family. That hit me so hard. Like, I thought I was having a damn panic attack. So that went through, and then finally the day came where we got we went on the bus and we got to our actual boot camp. You know the whole thing. You're running off the bus. They're blowing horns. They're screaming at you. You're on your face most of the time. You know, a lot of people got used to it real fast. I was one of those people as well. But there was also those few people that didn't make it within the first day, and some went for a discharge. So later on down the line, I was, excuse me, I forgot where I was. My mistake. Later on down the line, about a month or two, it was in the month of August, and we were running the trap because somebody in our platoon had pissed off our drill sergeant, and we were running for a good while. When we got back up to the barracks, my asthma had came back into effect, and it was so bad where I literally had to stay on my knees because I couldn't breathe for 5 minutes. Um, I went to the TMC, told them what was going on. They told me to go see the main hospital. They ran the tests. It took about a week or two because the multiple visits. They said that I had mild to severe asthma. They gave me the option of, do you want to stay or do you want to go home? I took the option of going home because I didn't want to chance my health getting any worse because of my asthma. So, yeah, after that, it was about a week or two that I stayed back at the battalion. And then one day, we got all our things and we headed to RHU. If you don't know what RHU is basically a battalion where the people that are getting discharged and being sent home, you stay over there and you wait until you wait until there's a list that has your name on it, which gives you the day that you're being sent home and everything. I was there for about a week, week and a half. When the day came, the day before, I checked the list, and oh my god, I got so happy. Like I ran out of the building where the list was, just screaming in all excitement and joy. And I was with my buddies, Sean Hudak and Demarco Jones. They were excited too. They were also leaving with me because of their issues. I'm not going to go into detail on what their issues were because that's personal to them. So yeah, um, the night before, you're given the option of call your parents. You're gonna tell them that you're going home. I did, and then we were also given the option of if we could change back into our civilian clothes, or if we can stay in our PT clothes. I immediately got my bag and changed back into my civilian clothes because I haven't worn it in so long. And it felt amazing being back in my black t-shirt, my khaki shorts, and my slides. I had packed my slides because I didn't know that you were being given shower shoes. Well, the day had finally come, the day that I was gonna be sent back home. uh Being out processed was a bitch. I'm not gonna lie. You're there for hours just filling out paperwork, paperwork. And then finally, you get your plane ticket. You get your plane ticket, and you take the bus to the airport. Uh, my flight wasn't until about 4. My bad, I whistled while I was saying 4. My first flight actually got delayed a bit because of gas issues. I'm guessing. Well, when I was leaving South Carolina, I looked back and just remembered all the memories that I made there at Fort Jackson. A lot of the battle buddies that I made there, a lot of the fun memories, a lot of the times we were on our face. Um, just you create this bond with people from all over the country and even the world that you can't break. I made so many brotherhood bonds. It's unbelievable. Um, and then I landed in Dallas, like 5 minutes before my second flight left, and I was rushing to get there. And sadly, I missed my second flight. Thankfully, the people over there said that I'd be able to catch the second flight for free, which I was so relieved about. But the thing was, my second flight didn't leave until 10:30 at night. So I waited over there. I got my stuff to eat, just relaxed, was watching TV over there. And then I boarded my flight around 10:30, 10:45. We left at about 11. And then we finally landed back home. Um, I'm going to give y'all a video after this about my information about me, um, where I come from, and all this other good stuff. Um, we landed back in Corpus Christi. And when I got off, I wanted to cry because I hadn't seen Corpus Christi in so long. And I almost forgot what it was like living in Corpus. And when I went outside, I saw my mom, I saw Tristan, and I was surprised that I was surprised I didn't cry when I saw them, or they did. They were just extremely happy that I was home, and I was too. Um, to this day, I miss the army life, honestly. Being in the barracks with your battle buddies, cracking a lot of jokes, hearing stories, everything. When I go back, yeah, but honestly, I don't see myself, going through what my drill sergeants went through. My drill sergeant, who was the youngest, already had a severe case of PTSD, which I didn't want. And yeah, that's my story about how I got sent home from the army. Um, man, yeah, as y'all can obviously tell, this is a very, you know, touching, a very touching situation for me. But leave a like down, subscribe if you're new, and yeah, thanks for watching, guys.